Okay, let's analyze this question. This is a typical PSLE science question. So this is what is you are being asked to do. So they say there are two setup A and B as shown. So you take note of this wooden box here. Okay, why do you have this wooden box? Because you want to prevent light from coming in. So that's the purpose of the wooden box. Because here you see there's a light source, right? So the one setup B allow light to pass through. But the one in setup A, there's no light to pass through. So whenever you see this, right, it will give you an idea that in setup A, photosynthesis cannot take place, correct? Because no light. Whereas in B, photosynthesis can take place. Okay, then second thing you need to take note, you can circle this thing, is this dead prawns. Okay, what do you think the dead prawns do? Remember just now earlier on page 1, right? We talked about decomposition, right? So when organisms die, right, they will decompose. So if you revise earlier, right, this part, right? So during decomposition, what is being released? Do you know what type of gas is being released here? Let me see whether the notes showed here. It didn't show it here. So during decomposition, carbon dioxide is released and oxygen is used up. So oxygen is used up during decomposition and carbon dioxide being released. Okay, because this indicator, the liquid R, right, when they change color according to the amount of carbon dioxide present. So can you tell me in setup A or setup B has more carbon dioxide? Okay, A, there's no photosynthesis, right? No photosynthesis means cannot absorb carbon dioxide. The plant is respiring. Respiration produces carbon dioxide, right? The prawn is also decomposing. So in setup A, the concentration of carbon dioxide here will be higher than in B. So can you see this is less than this normal, this higher. So I use this to help me. I put H here. You can put a H here. H means higher than normal. Okay. And then here, because there's light, right? So the plants can absorb carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. So since it can absorb carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, here be less than normal. So by putting these two annotation here, you can help you answer the question. So can you see setup A, right? Setup A is H. Okay. H means what? Higher than normal. So the color is yellow. Okay, so you spell the word yellow. Then the reason you write here. Okay, I just mentioned verbally, but you write it down here. Because you say in setup A, right? The wooden box prevent light from being absorbed by the plant. Therefore, the plant cannot photosynthesize. It only respire, producing carbon dioxide. Yeah. At the same time, the prawn decompose. It also produces carbon dioxide. Yeah. So this one you write down the two things. So mentioned in brief, the wooden box prevent light from being absorbed by the plant, hence it cannot photosynthesize. It only respire, producing carbon dioxide. The dead prawn also produce carbon dioxide. Okay. And then for B, right? B is L, right? L is low, less than normal, is purple. Oh. So the reason is the plant can absorb the light to carry out photosynthesis, absorbing carbon dioxide in the container. Therefore, there's lesser amount of carbon dioxide than normal. Okay, yeah, because both also produce carbon dioxide. The dead prawns, both sides produce carbon dioxide, but the plant here can absorb the carbon dioxide produced by the dead plant. Correct? Yeah. So you say in setup B, the plant can absorb the light and the carbon dioxide produced by the dead prawns for photosynthesis. Yeah. Therefore, the amount of carbon dioxide is lower than normal or less than normal. So these application questions in a PSLE exam questions, and it's actually extracted. You need all these facts here. You need to know during photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is absorbed. During respiration, carbon dioxide is produced. And at the same time, as I mentioned, during decomposition, carbon dioxide is produced. So that's will help you to answer this question over here, which I will mark for you soon. So I hope that you can continue your training towards your PSLE in One Academy. Thank you.